Hello, I'm Myra Cisse, VP of Service Delivery with the Government Contractors Association. And today we're going to show you how you can expand your business with government contracting. So we at GCA are a membership organization. We were founded in 2010 by Abraham Seong, and since then we've helped our members earn over $850 million worth of contracts. Our mission is to educate, facilitate, and advocate for our small business owners. And also our vision is to create access. That's access for you, the small business community, to government contracting officers, and access to government agencies to find small businesses like yours with whom they can do work. Today, what you're going to learn is we're going to teach you the techniques that you can duplicate our client success in a fraction of time. So I ask you, what is significant about April 19, 1775? If you have any history buffs, then you may know this. But it's the shot heard around the world in Lexington, Massachusetts. When the British were coming. And that's unofficially when government contracting started. I mean, during that time, we needed to uniform the troops. We needed to provide food and ammunition and munitions and all of the infrastructure that they needed to fight the British in the war. So that was what was significant about that time, and that's unofficially when contracting began. Since then, government contracting has grown to over 85,000 government entities in the U.S. That's one federal government with 24 federal departments and hundreds of sub-agencies. 50 states, over 3,000 counties, 14,000 some odd districts, cities, townships, Native American tribes, and territories. All of that is government contracting. And now, Uncle Sam, he doesn't just want you, but he wants you to take his money. In government contracting, there are tons of opportunities. The U.S. government is the world's biggest consumer, and we buy almost everything. And it's open to pretty much every business out there. We buy everything from airplanes to toothpicks. So no matter what your business is, there's probably a market for it in government contracting. In addition, the government has the world's biggest budget. The entire government contracting budget is over $6 trillion, and the federal budget is $3.9 trillion. Checks never bounce, and the reason is because we can print money, we can raise taxes, and the government can borrow money on our behalf. Thank you very much, Uncle Sam. But because of that, the world's largest client is somebody with whom you want to do business. The other great thing about government contracting is that there's always going to be projected growth. This chart shows government contracting growth from fiscal year 1999 through fiscal year 2019. And as you can see, no matter who's in office, the contracts are always going up. So it doesn't matter whether it's a Democrat or a Republican in office, contracting is always happening. You know, when Democrats are in charge, oftentimes they will reduce military spending and increase social programs. And then when the Republicans take over, they may decrease some of the social programs, but ideally the defense spending goes up. So there's always going to be government contracting. Sometimes there are little bumps in the road, but you can always count on the government to spend money. Of course, every once in a while we shut down, but that's a different story. Now, as far as money awarded to the private sector, there's over $450 billion worth of contracts that are awarded pretty much every year, and that's to the private sector alone. That's $1.2 billion a day and $51 million every hour. And in every minute, every second that I'm talking, there's contracts being awarded to somebody. So $14,000 worth every second, and that's something that you want to take advantage of. That equates to over 2,482,000 contracts. Now, the average government contract is $180,000. And you may be wondering or thinking that that's low. But what I ask you is, what is the average ticket in your business? If you're a retail shop, maybe it's $25 or $35. If you are a commercial business where maybe you sell B2B, maybe you're an electrical contractor or something of that nature. So your average project is between $2,500 and $5,000. If you look at that, still $180,000 is a pretty sizable amount. It may not be the millions that you think of with government contracting, but there's no limit to how many of those $180,000 average contracts you can get. as many as your business can manage. So this is a great way to expand your overall business by adding government contracting to the mix of what you already do. Now, right now, there are over 600,000 businesses that are eligible to do business with the federal government. That means they are registered in the System for Award Management, also known as SAM.gov. So that's pretty much the entire qualification. In order to win a government contract, all you have to do is be registered in SAM and submit a bid. That's pretty much it. The hard part is all the stuff in the middle. And that's part of what we're going to show you today. Let's look at a couple of industries. The IT industry is a $32 billion industry in the federal government. And the last time we looked, and this was a couple of years ago, they awarded approximately 107,000 contracts. Now the average IT contract is $299,000. So if IT is your business, you can see your average is slightly higher than the overall average. Janitorial and facility support, quite a few of our members are in this space. And that is a $19.6 billion industry, slightly smaller, with only 41,000 contracts. But the surprising thing is the average contract value here is $446,000. Now here are a few of the NAICS codes that the janitorial industry supports, and that includes facility support, janitorial services, and carpet cleaning. And when you think of facility support, think about your average commercial building. Someone has to change the light bulbs and fix the toilets, and when there's a plumbing issue or an electrical issue, somebody fixes that. That's what this janitorial and facility support, that's what that falls under. And an aside, the US government is the world's largest holder of real estate. So that's why the contracts here are so big, because every year somebody has to clean the buildings and sweep the floors. So, and when you've got more real estate than anyone in the world, there are always those contracts going around. Okay, construction is another big industry in the federal government. And construction is a $28 billion industry, and last year there were 137,000 contracts awarded. The average contract here is $204,000 in the construction industry. So as you can see, and these are just 3 microcosms of industries available. Maybe you sell food services, or you're in road construction. It doesn't matter what your business is, the government is probably buying what you sell. And we'll go into details on that in a bit. Okay, so the question is, how do you win government contracts? And the answer is with set-asides and certifications. So this is a great chart that I like to go through in detail. We talked about the $450 billion that the government awards every year in contracts. There are a couple of different paths to that money. You can either go open competition, where you're competing with everyone. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, all of the big contractors that do this for a living and quite honestly can eat your lunch. Or you can go the set-aside route, where you're competing against other small businesses that look like you. And then under open competition, let's stay over here on this side where you're competing with the big boys. The great thing about that is they already know how to win. Like I said, they can eat your lunch. They do this for a living all day, every day. They have departments that are bigger than most small businesses that can handle the entire government contracting process. Because they're winning a bulk of the funds, then the government is charging them with having subcontracting plans in place. And the purpose of that is because the US government knows that the bulk of dollars are going to the large companies. So that means they can't meet their small business goals if they don't work with the large companies that are winning to help them meet those goals. So in the case of a large company that wins a government contract, anything larger than $750,000, they have to have what's called a subcontracting plan in place. And that's where they identify how they're going to work and get 35% of that contract value awarded to small businesses. And oftentimes they look over here for these certifications like 8A and HubZone and SDVOSB and WOSB. All that may sound like alphabet soup right now, but I'll get into that in a second. So it's important for you to realize all the different paths. You can try to compete with everyone, in open competition, where it's going to be very hard, you can go to the government directly and compete for set-asides if you have one of these certifications. Or you can go directly to the agency, the large company that's already won the contract, and get on their list as a subcontractor. Now, of those three, which do you think is the fastest path to cash? Any takers? If you said subcontracting, then you're right. So it's going to be easier to go to the company that's already won the contract, and then you're just talking to that business and selling yourself and your services to them as to why you can subcontract and help them meet their small business goals by being a partner with them. So let's get into the details of what all of these certifications mean. I had little errors on the screen I didn't realize. Sorry guys. So let's talk about the certifications. We've got federal certifications that include 8A, SDVOSB, which stands for Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business, HUB-Zone, which stands for Historically Underutilized Business Zone, and then your ED and WOSB, and that's Economically Disadvantaged Woman-Owned Small Business, or just a woman-owned small business. Those are actually two separate programs. Both of these speak to federal clients. So if you are trying to do business with the Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Defense, Department of State, Department of, and you think of it, Department of Transportation, and there are 15 executive branches of the federal government. So if you're trying to do business with any one of those, then one of these certifications is going to speak to that agency. And there are a few others that don't have participation goals attached. The number here that's in parentheses is the amount that the government shoots for every year as far as a target to meet their requirements as far as small businesses with whom they work that have those particular certifications. Then there's state certifications, and this is going to talk to your state government agencies. Here in Georgia, we have a Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, and that is for qualified minority businesses or women-owned small businesses. In Texas, they call it a Historically Underutilized Business Certification. In Virginia, it's called a Small Women and Minority Business Certification. And in North Carolina, they've kind of figured it out. They have one statewide uniform certification that covers state and several municipalities as well. So depending on where you are, there's going to be a program that's in your state. And also check with the Department of Transportation, that's DOT. They are the ones that monitor the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. So if you just go to your state, click on Department of Transportation for your state, and you'll get the information about that DBE program and the qualifications. Now, if your county or municipality is anything like ours here in Atlanta, then you probably have, every county has their own certification. Here, we've got Fulton County, DeKalb County, City of Atlanta, several that have their own certifications. And as you can see from the slide, it's an alphabet soup. There's minority and female business enterprise, local small business enterprises. Here in Atlanta, the City of Atlanta has an entire alphabet soup of their own where they delineate Hispanic American, African American, Asian Pacific American, and others. So it depends on where you're located and what counties you're in as to whether or not your county or municipality will have a certification program. And then the other category is going to be for commercial certifications. I mentioned earlier that large businesses like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, AT&T, Coca-Cola, you name it, they're probably Home Depot, they probably do some business with the federal government. And those companies often have internal supplier diversity programs within their organizations. And with that supplier diversity program, they look to certain agencies to certify that your business is classified as a woman or a minority or a gay, lesbian, transgender business in order to qualify to participate in their supplier diversity program. Those certifications are monitored by different outside agencies, not by the U.S. government. And that the Minority Business Enterprise certification is monitored by the National Minority Supplier Development Council. And here in the state of Georgia, it's Georgia Minority Supplier Development Council. That agency has 35 regional councils across the country. So there's going to be one that's close to you or one representing your state. The Women Business Enterprise certification is monitored. There are 4 certifying bodies of the WBE certification. The largest and most well recognized that pretty much every corporation will honor is WBENC, Women Business Enterprise National Council. That's the one that we use here as an association when we're helping our members to get certified. And then the more progressive companies will recognize lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender business enterprises. And that certification is monitored by the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. So look at these organizations to help your business get certified. Now you may be asking why? Why should you get certified? Well, the reason is for set-aside contracts. Like I showed in the slide before, set-aside contracts means you're only competing with other small businesses that look and feel like you. And you're only competing within those certifications. Think of set-asides as a kiddie pool, okay? In the kiddie pool, if you are, or one of those rides at the amusement park where you have to be, smaller than this line in order to ride the ride. So in that case, the big boys can't play in that kiddie pool. So you're not going to be competing against whales like Coca-Cola and AT&T and Lockheed Martin when you don't have a prayer of winning. You're going to be competing against other small businesses where your chances, where the playing field is much more level. And the most important reason to get certified is for sole source contracts. That means a direct award to one company, yours. And that means no competition, no lengthy procurement process, and all you're doing is negotiating price with the agency. Now I ask you, if you've got 2 scenarios, one where you're competing and another where you're just negotiating price, in which scenario do you think you are coming out with the best price? If you said when you're negotiating price, you are right. We have an example of one of our members who was awarded a sole source contract, and she was, working with her subcontractor to put together a price quote for the agency, and she came to us to ask us to review the information. One of the coaches that was working with her asked her, well, do you know what the budget is for the project? And she said no, and he said, go ask. And she's like, I can do that? He's like, well, you don't know unless you ask. Well, she went back to the agency and asked them what the budget was. They told her the number, it was $77,000 or somewhere there, and she had to put together a price of about $50,000. Maybe it was $40,000. Anyway, by the time she was done, she'd given herself basically a $30,000 raise, because when she did go with her final price to the agency, it was just under what their budget was. They're happy, they're still getting it within budget, and she was very happy because she got a major bump in her pricing over and above what it was originally going to cost. So be smart about that and know that if you're getting sole source contracts, you're always going to come out on top. So let's talk about what the challenges are. Now, there are lots of opportunities in the government market. We talked about what the budget is. There are tons of people, tons of opportunity available for contractors, but the facts are there's not enough participation. And the reason is because there are a lot of challenges. There's a ton of red tape. You can see from the poor guy wrapped up here in it. The red tape and the regulations can be overwhelming. Most people don't speak governese, and that's what we affectionately call the language of government contracting. It can take a long time. If you don't know what you're doing, it can take you 36 months. Literally, that's 3 years to figure this whole thing out yourself. And that's simply because it's not a matter of there isn't any information out there and it's hard to find the information. There's so much information out there. There's information overload and you don't know where to start, and you go down a path and realize you need to backtrack and start down another one. So there's a lot of reasons for it taking so long to figure out the process your own. Most people don't even know where to start. That's a big challenge with our members, and that's one that we help them work through. And then people may not be sure how to build relationships. I don't know about you, but I'm a corporate refugee. I was a banker for over 20 years. And when we build relationships in banking, we schmooze. So we give them box seats to the Braves game or tickets to the Hawks play or something of that nature. Well, when you do that in government, it's called bribery and there's prison time involved. So there's a totally different culture when it comes to government contracting. And you need to understand that and understand those nuances so that you don't, one, get yourself into trouble, and two, figure out and, let the contracting officer know you don't know what you're talking about. And, you just need to figure out the process. So let's put all this together. Let's find out what your goal is. Let's say you have a goal to win a contract. Well, the bad thing about that is it's not very specific. If you're going to put goals together, they need to be SMART goals, where they're specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and have a time limit, right? So let's change that win a contract goal to you want to win one contract worth $200,000 by the fourth quarter of 2018. There's a time limit. You've specified the information. You want to win one contract, and you put a dollar amount on it because we've talked about what the average contract is, being $180,000. Now, how do you get there? The sad part is the average win rate for somebody brand new to government contracting is 1 of every 22 bids. So that can be very discouraging if you're just getting started. So that's not, it's going to take you a while to get there doing it on your own. Now, the good thing is that our GCA members, we have a win rate of 1 of every 6 bids that we submit. So just by being a member of GCA and getting the training that we teach, you increase your odds dramatically. And let's talk again about how you can get there. You can hire a capture manager to source 5 or 6 opportunities per month. And the reason you're going to need 5 or 6, because we talked about, if you're doing this solo, you're going to need to put together 22 bids in order to win the one. So he's going to have to source 5 or 6 opportunities a month so you can have enough to find to bid on so that you can get to your 22. That capture manager, by the way, is going to cost you about $150,000 a year. You can also hire a proposal writer to write up to 2 proposals a month. Again, back to what we said, you're going to have to submit 22 bids in order to win the one contract, and that's going to take you between $1,500 and $2,000 per proposal. And that's going to be about $198,000 a year. Now, most of you have probably tuned out, and that's okay. There is a better solution. We understand that if you're here, you're probably a small business owner, and this is just outside of your budget right now. The other solution is to become a member of GCA. Now, getting started with GCA, you have resources that include a Gov't Training Vault, and that's going to teach you what you need to know to improve your win rate. If you can get your rate down from 1 in 22 to 1 in 6, then you're going to considerably reduce the expense it's going to take you to get to where you want to go. We also have workshops every week that are going to teach you how to source opportunities and all of the nuances of what you need to know in this contracting arena. We have partners that can assist you with DIY proposal solutions if you want to do it yourself, so that you can do that at a fraction of the cost of hiring out a proposal writer, and much more. So let me ask you a question. If you had an experienced guide that could take you where you wanted to go, the question is, would you follow? And be honest with yourself. The thing is, not everyone is ready for government contracting. The purpose of this training is to teach you what is available there and for you to make an informed decision about whether or not you're willing to do the work to make your business succeed in this space. If the answer is no, that's fine. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with us. It's just a matter of it may not be a good fit for your business. So we just want you to be honest with yourself about whether or not you're willing to do the work, because the fact is, it is a lot of work. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. Now, membership benefits include monthly association meetings. That's going to be a value of over $240 per year. Weekly workshops, and that's a value of about $1,000 per year. The Gov't Training Vault, there's over 300 hours of training in the Gov't Training Vault that's available to you. And you can access that anywhere online. That's a $7,800 value. And then Gov't Directions, we've partnered with a national bid matching platform to send opportunities to your inbox daily, so you don't have to spend time going out looking for those. That's a $528 a year value. So the total value of membership is approximately $9,568. And that doesn't include a couple of other things that we have available as well. But these are the main benefits that our members find most valuable to them in helping them to win contracts. Now the investment, of course, isn't going to be that $9,000. To get started on membership, it costs only $499. So go ahead and visit the Gov't Association website, and you can feel free to join today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thanks so much.